Good evening, classmates. After watching the SEL for Parents video by Castle, what I thought about the video was that I did agree with what they said about establishing strong social emotional learning practices in education and how that can provide a foundation of academic success as well as success in life. Um, I do think that providing kids with those tools at a young age can definitely help them as they navigate through not only their education, but also just their lives. I also agreed that they said that social emotional learning in schools can lead to one, better academic performance, two, improved attitudes about school, three, fewer negative behaviors, and four, reduced emotional stress. So I think that SEL practices can definitely help to better academic performance, because when we're teaching children how to manage their stress and manage their reactions, that can just give them a more sense of calm and know, at a young age it's a little bit different, but as they get older, maybe they have a stressful test that's going to be coming up or a big project, and just learning how to manage prioritizing things in their life, and if they do feel under stress, just ways to cope with that. I agree that there can be improved attitudes about school, because let's face it, whenever we're in a position where we feel welcomed, that definitely improves our attitudes. If we're ever in a situation where maybe we don't feel safe, that can have a negative impact on our attitudes. Fewer negative behaviors. I think that goes back into toe with being able to manage our emotions, teaching kids how to manage emotions and have empathy. When our kids can do that, then I would hope that there would be less bullying, less chance of maybe just not taking others into consideration, and things like that can lead to negative behaviors, or even talking about making choices, the responsibility of choices that you're making as kids get older. I know they mentioned fewer negative behaviors such as drug and alcohol use, and so if we can instill those things with our kids at a young age, then hopefully that would help them to navigate through those later years. And then number four, where they said SEL can lead to reduced emotional stress. I think unfortunately with social media now, at those older ages, middle school, high school, there could be a lot of emotional stress wrapped around social media and just how mean kids can be. But being able to teach kids, first of all, how to have empathy and respect for others, and maybe that would help to mitigate things of that nature. So yeah, those were some things that I took away from the video that I thought were good, and I do agree that social emotional learning can play a very vital role in the academic success of all of our kids. The second one, what resonated with me? Well, the first thing that resonated with me was where they talked about how schools and parents must work together to create safe and supportive learning environments, and how parents are the first teachers, and there's only so much that educators are really able to do. That resonated with me a lot, because in my short time of having a class, I did see firsthand how, unfortunately, there are some parents who have unrealistic expectations, maybe that they place on a school without being willing to make some sacrifices at home or modifications at home, and really just putting a lot of pressure and expectations on educators and school staff, without wanting to maybe take ownership of the ways things are at home. So I think that that was really important, that in talking about SEL, they did want to get down to the crux of the fact that parents are the number one, the house where these students are coming from, their environments, that's really number one. And we can only do so much as educators, and we do have important roles where we have a lot of great tools to provide to the students, but um, that parents do need to take that ownership of being number one. I also, what else resonated with me was where they talked about how SEL tools can make kids think twice. And I think that is important at all ages. I think when you're talking about thinking twice at an older age, that's really thinking about the choices that you're making, involving the people you're surrounding yourself with, drugs, alcohol, social media, things of that nature. And when we're talking about younger students thinking twice, that makes me think more about kids who maybe you're not including somebody on the playground. How would that make you feel? Or before you just act out in class, how might that be disruptive? So I think it's just a good tool in general for everybody of any age to think twice about our actions or what we say. And then I also thought it was nice how they said that SEL can really create a positive environment and climate for the schools that we're at, because it can make students feel more comfortable when they're in an environment where they feel safe, where they feel respected. So I agree with that. And then I also liked how they talked about how SEL really is, it's a lifelong learning that we're doing. And if just people in general have these strong skills, we would want them to be our employees, our students, our study partners. So I think that those were all things that resonated with me in them talking about SEL and, you know, the important components of that, of us learning or teaching our students and learning ourselves about empathy, respect, processing our feelings, managing stress, speaking our feelings, communicating, having cooperation with others, reflecting, solving problems, evaluating. These were all things that they brought up throughout the course of the video that I thought all of them had really wonderful components to them. What is a caregiver's role in the social and emotional development of children, and how can caregivers do this? Well, I personally believe that the number one most important role as a caregiver is to provide love. Obviously, outside of providing love, I do think that a caregiver should also provide encouragement, comfort, guidance, support, recognition of accomplishments, stability, and acceptance. Caregivers who can show love through affection and play are those are two ways that caregivers can show love, is through affection and play. Giving your child hugs and praise can show them that they're valued and cared for. Playing with your child can teach them how to interact with others, how to take turns, how to learn, how to share. Encouraging your child in school and social settings, in sports, these can all make them feel worthy and capable. Comforting your child if they are sad or scared can help to build trust in adults. Guiding and supporting your child in their lives can help to instill a sense of empathy, because they can learn what it means to care for and give time to others. And recognizing their accomplishments can help them to achieve their goals. So I think that these were all ways that caregivers can play a good role in social and emotional development. I think it's also great for caregivers to help kids understand their emotions, manage their emotions, teach them how to get along with others, and to make responsible choices. What is a school's role in the social and emotional development of children? So I believe that schools can help a child develop their social and emotional skills by teaching them how to become more independent, how to socialize with peers, how to respect authority, how to manage emotions. And I think that schools are there to create a supportive atmosphere which allows students to fulfill their full potential. I think that our school, if I'm just thinking about my school that my kids go to and where I teach, I think that our school is doing a great job of this. We are fortunate enough to have SEL classes with our school counselor that each of our grade levels in each of the classes at our school attend 2 times a month. Our counselor also has an open door policy where kids can come and give her these little cards that they can fill out if they have anything that they want to talk about. Um, our school also implements morning meetings so that every morning the class gathers to be able to talk about either just a random question, maybe share something, but that allows students to build that skill of showing respect for others, as well as being able to express their emotions. I know our school also works with outside counseling services for kiddos who might be going through some life changes or traumas that are a little bit more for even our school psychologist to handle. So, yeah, I think our school does a really great job of implementing SEL tools, not only with the counselor, but also with teachers as well. Let's see. What is a community's role in the social and emotional development of children? So I believe that our community's role begins with schools and parents working together to create safe and supportive environments, both helping children understand themselves and others while also making responsible decisions. I believe that my community is showing support of social and emotional development through youth and family services, after school programs, summer camps, sports. Um, there are programs and that offer opportunities for students to apply relationship building practices such as cooperation, empathy, respect, problem solving skills. So, when we have sports organizations that can really bring kids together to build those skills, I know our community has after school programs through the school, like AM/PM programs. They also work with the Boys and Girls Club. And I know all of those after school summer programs, not only are they there for childcare services, but they also work to build up those social um, opportunities as well. So I think that our community is doing a really great job offering social and emotional learning. Um, Let's see. So, some connections that I made between this video and my own experience. Like I was saying, that parents are the number one educator from day one. Parents need to be involved with communicating with schools. They, to the best of their ability, not every parent has the opportunity to join the PTA or be active on the PTA or volunteer at school. So even if they can just stay in contact with their teacher via email, I think that's a wonderful way for students and families to feel connected. Um, I know that, like I said, we have our SEL classes at our school, which are amazing. It's 2 times a month, and each class gets about a 30-minute session with the school counselor. And those lessons are 100% focused on social and emotional learning. And they're given the tools that they can practice both at school and at home. So, yeah, that's a connection that I feel I had with the video, was being able to step back and remember what it's like to be in a classroom that teaches social emotional learning just completely. So I think that was pretty cool. So the next steps to begin purposefully integrating SEL in my personal and professional life. Really, I think those next steps are what they spelled out there with self-awareness, and taking the time to talk about feelings with my child every day, to share my feelings with my child every day. That can apply, I think, definitely personally. Self management, teaching and modeling positive ways of managing stress, disappointment, and anger. That's both personally and professionally. I think as a parent, you can obviously they say that your children are a product of their environment. So if your children see you stressed out and not knowing how to manage it, then chances are those are the behaviors that they're going to model as they get older. So I know personally, I have gone to my children at different times and apologized if I've maybe reacted a little too quickly to something, because I want them to know that I'm human and they're human and we all can err, but we can also apologize and reflect on things and, try to make amends for things. And then professionally, that self management, I think, yeah, as a teacher, you are in a great position to be able to set the tone for your class, you know, to show them sometimes things don't always go right. I know I've been in rooms where technology is not working and we have to talk about how are we going to just modify the situation. And, if your students see that you're stressed out about something, then they're going to take that on. But if they see how you can just kind of roll with it, then chances are they're going to model that behavior as well. Social awareness. So, asking how my children or my students would feel in similar situations as characters in a story. So, this one is definitely a way to implement SEL in my professional life. Because, in ELA lessons, that's something that we do touch on is, uh, you know, developing characters and relating to characters. Um, but you can talk about that with your children as well, to maybe take the pressure off them and put a context of something with a character from a book and ask them how they would feel about that situation. And I do think that social awareness is a key part of SEL because, I think one of the biggest goals is getting um, kids and adults to be able to all interact well together. Um, Professionally and personally, relationship skills. So, resolving conflict by asking questions about a situation rather than giving advice. So, yeah, this one is something that I would definitely be able to implement in my personal life, especially now that I do have a middle schooler. And he is starting to experience things that are different than what he experienced in elementary school. Um, but I do like how that says to ask questions about the situation rather than giving my advice or my opinion, because let's face it, I'm a lot older than he is. And the way that I view things is probably not the same lens that an 11-year-old views things. And so to be able to simply ask him questions and let him navigate that, it probably gives him a sense of empowerment, and maybe doesn't just feel like, oh, that's just my mom's idea. And then definitely this is important professionally speaking because there's always going to be conflict in the classroom, unfortunately. You get 20, 30 something kids, and like we've learned, they don't all come from the same background, they don't have the same experiences. So we will, as educators, have to help navigate those paths when there is conflict. And I think that being able to um, ask questions to the parties involved can, again, help them to navigate how to resolve something and not just give them um, an answer, but give them tools to get to their expected resolution. Um, and then professionally and personally speaking about responsible decision making. This one I think is really important both professionally and personally because personally, uh, again, I'm at a point in my life with a kiddo who is at a pivotal place in his life. And I think that it's important for me to ask him questions about what might happen if, um, what might happen if you do this? What might happen if you hang out with this person? What might happen if you don't do this assignment? And really instill in him consequences and, you know, what happens when you have consequences for your actions. And professionally speaking, this is great for students as well when you think about talking to them, and same thing, maybe not turning in an assignment or not giving it their best work on an assignment, and explaining to them what the consequences might be. And, if they want to get an A in the class or get good grades or get, an outstanding for their behavior, they have to understand that they need to make responsible decisions. So yeah, I think that the aspects that might be easier for myself would probably be self-awareness, self-management, and social awareness. I think that the ones that would be more challenging would be relationship skills and responsible decision making. I feel that self-awareness, self-management, and social awareness would be easier for me, just because I do feel like those are things that I already naturally do. I'm real big on sharing feelings. I'm really big on trying to model positive behavior, as well as having empathy for people around me. So I think that part of social awareness. I think that the relationship skills and responsible decision making, those ones might be a little bit harder for me to implement in life just because me personally, I avoid conflict at all costs. I really don't like dealing with conflict, and so I probably am not the most naturally gifted at conflict resolution. And then responsible decision making. I think that one might be tough too, just because it takes more forward thought to say, let's think ahead of something that might happen as opposed to, okay, this happened. Now, how are we going to deal with it? So that's what I thought might be a little bit more difficult. But all in all, I do definitely agree with social emotional learning. I think that there are so many wonderful components to it that can be beneficial not only for students, but for educators and for everybody. So thank you for taking the time to watch my long video. I feel like there was just a lot of content to cover. So I hope that it wasn't too lengthy, but I appreciate your time and have a wonderful night.